What's up guys, Alvaro here and welcome to the Bilingual Stock Market channel again. On this channel we talk about the markets and we do it in English and Spanish as well, so you can pick your preferred language. And in this video, and as I do it Mondays through Thursdays, I want to make a quick stock market update. So I want to break down some technicals, going over the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100, and also breaking down 4 stocks that tomorrow are going to be on the very top of my personal watch list. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. And today we had some sort of recovery day in the markets. The Russell 2000 was almost the best performing index today, going up 0.59%. Dow Jones was the best performing index today, going up 0.76%. The Dow Jones had until today a 4-day losing streak that obviously was broken today. S&P 500 went up 0.23% and the Nasdaq 100 went down today. The Nasdaq more specifically went down 0.07%. So, and when it comes to these sectors that trade inside the S&P 500, and if you guys happen to remember what I have been saying here on the channel, we need to see the financial sector going up. And that actually happened on last Friday, and it also happened today. So that is positive for the S&P 500 in general terms, because the financial sector is a very important sector inside the S&P. However, the best performing sector today was the energy sector, which went up 2.93%. But the energy sector is not really a heavy and important, let's say, sector inside the S&P. So take a look at how the tech sector, guys, went up today. It pretty much broke even. It went up 0.03%, whereas the financial sector went up 1.17%. So for the S&P, in order to go higher, for the bulls of the S&P, in order to take this index back above 4,500 points, we need to see both sectors, the financial sector and the tech sector, pulling up. And that's not what happened today, because actually one of the lagging sectors was the tech sector. So the fact that the financial sector is showing signs of life is, we can say that that's positive for the S&P. However, guys, the price action that we saw today from an intraday perspective inside the S&P was not bullish at all, but we are going to go over the S&P in just a second. Keep in mind, guys, tomorrow, what a morning we have ahead of ourselves, because tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to have the CPI data report of the month of August. So what could happen over here? The expectations of the analyst are at 0.5%. So what would happen, guys, if we happen to have a worse than expected CPI data report tomorrow? Let's say that that report comes out at 0.9% or 0.10% or something crazy like that. If that were to happen, guys, the main reaction of the markets is going to be, according to my humble opinion, first of all, the US dollar is going to go higher, is going to pull up. As well, the 10-year treasury yield is going to shoot up. Therefore, and you guys know that for the most part, whenever the 10-year treasury yield goes up, the financial sector also goes up. And take a look at how the financial sector was almost the best performing sector today. So we can make the case that the markets are waiting, let's say, for a hotter than expected CPI data report coming out tomorrow. So if the US dollar happens to go up, that implies that that oil is going to go down along with gold, and obviously, guy, the tech sector is going to take a hit for sure. Tech-oriented stocks, growth-oriented stocks, and stocks that trade in the markets on higher multiples. That would be the reaction of the markets if we happen to have a worse than expected CPI data report. But what would happen, guys, if tomorrow we have a surprise? What happens if the CPI data, and I am not calling this out, by the way, What happened? But what would happen if the CPI data report happens to come out at 0.4%, 0.3%, which in my opinion is pretty much impossible, but let's just, let's say that happens tomorrow, okay? Just for argument's sake. If that were to happen, guys, the US dollar is going to take a hit. Therefore, oil and gold are going to go up. The 10-year treasury yield is going to drop like a rock, along with the financial sector and the tech sector, and most of growth-oriented stocks and the stocks that trade in the markets on higher multiples are going to pull up. So keep this information on your table, and let's see what happens tomorrow, guys. And tomorrow is going tomorrow is going to be a very important day, and keep in mind that we also have another very important day during or throughout this month, which is going to be the Federal Open Market Committee, which is going to take place on September 22nd. And mind you, if we happen to have a weaker than expected or a better than expected CPI data report, then we could maybe see the Federal Reserve putting off the beginning of the tapering process until November, maybe December, and you guys know that that's good for the markets, obviously. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the S&P 500, and let's see what happens tomorrow, as I just said, at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so the S&P went up today 0.23%, and it closed today's trading session at 4,468 points. So here you guys can see a 1 day, 1 minute chart, and take a look at what happened today, guys. So every single attempt of the bulls to go higher was rejected by the bears. I mean, the trading session closed at 4 p.m., but I think that the bulls were going to be rejected probably at 44.73 if the trading session hadn't ended at 4 p.m. So take a look at how we opened. As soon as the trading session opened, we went higher. The bulls were rejected at 44.92. And then take a look at how the bulls were rejected on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. On 12 occasions throughout the trading session, the bulls were rejected. So this is bearish price action, no doubt about it. The bears are clearly in charge of the S&P 500. So for the bulls, in order to regain control of the S&P 500, they need to take 4,500 points to the upside. They need to take on that area of overhead resistance. From a support standpoint, guys, take a look at how the low point of today's trading session was 44.45. We could maybe make the case that we saw a double bottom formation at 44.45, and then we saw a good rally of the S&P 500. So take a look at how, guys, 44.45, if I pull up the 4-hour chart, is an area of support that is extremely close to 44.40. 44.40 is a very important area of lower support for the S&P 500 because we are talking about a former area of overhead resistance in which the bulls of the S&P were rejected back on August 20th, and they were also rejected back on August 10 and also back on August 6th. And we are also talking about a former area of lower support that acted as such for the bulls of the S&P back on August 12. So in terms of support, clearly we have a new, let's say, lower pivot in the S&P 500. So the most important area that the bears need to take on tomorrow is going to be 44.40. And in terms of overhead resistance, we have two clear resistances, let's just put it that way, to the upside. The first one, 44.73, and obviously, guy, 4,500, which was pretty much the spot in which the bulls were rejected today, because the bulls were rejected at 44.93, very close to 4,500. And if we take a look once again at the 4-hour chart, take a look at the relative strength index. It is at 35 points. And take a look as well, guys, at how the bulls managed to bounce off once the relative strength index of the S&P dropped below 30 points. So that actually gave rise to a bounce for the bulls of the S&P. So the bears are still in control, but the bears have a lot to do in order to take the S&P 500 lower, no doubt about it. And when it comes to the Nasdaq 100, today we had an epic battle, guys, at 15,400 points. The Nasdaq 100 went down today 0.04%, and it closed today's trading session at 15,434 points. So this is the 4-hour chart. If we take a look at the relative strength index of the Nasdaq 100, it is at 38 points, very healthy from a technical standpoint. But I need to pull up here, guys, the 1 day, 1 minute, and take a look. This red line that you guys can see over here is 15,400 points. So 15,400 points was broken to the downside today on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 occasions throughout the trading session, but the bulls managed to close today's trading session above 15,400 points. So the main task for the bulls in tomorrow's trading session would be taking the Nasdaq 100 above 15,500 points, which could happen, guys, depending on whatever the CPI data or depending on what the CPI data report shows tomorrow. If we happen to have a better than expected CPI data report in inflation terms, then it is very likely, or we can make the case, that the bulls are going to be able to take on 15,500 points. So in tomorrow's trading session, support 15,400 points and overhead resistance at 15,500 points. And now let's go ahead and take a look at Amc Entertainment, which is going to be the very first stock of today's video. So let me pull up here the 4-hour chart, and AMC went up once again today, guys, 3.05%, and it closed today's trading session at $51.69. And guys, on many occasions throughout the trading session, we saw the Nasdaq 100, S&P 500 going down and AMC going up. We know that AMC trades inside the Russell 2000, but at times throughout today's trading session, we also saw the Russell 2000 going down along with the S&P and the Nasdaq 100, and AMC on the flip side going up. That shows that we have very good momentum when it comes to AMC. So the main task in tomorrow's trading session is going to be closing above $52. Take a look at the relative strength index of AMC, guys. It is at 72 points. It is getting overheated once again. And if I pull up here the 1 day, 1 minute, take a look at how the bulls managed to burst above $52, which is a very important area of overhead resistance at 1:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and they traded above $52 for something like 1 hour. They started to consolidate slightly above $52, which was the main task for the bulls of AMC in today's trading session. Afterwards, they couldn't manage to hold that area, that resistance, let's just put it that way, as a new support, and AMC closed today's trading session at $51.69. So what the bulls need to do tomorrow, guys, would be taking on $52 once again, and taking into account that the relative strength index is a bit overheated, I just want to see the bulls starting to consolidate slightly above $52, which is a previous area of lower support that acted as such for AMC on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 occasions back in June. So I just want to see the bulls starting to consolidate slightly above that area in order to gather momentum and then make a push higher in order to try to pay a visit to the next important area of overhead resistance for AMC at $58, which is an area that acted as resistance on 1 and 2 occasions throughout June, and it also acted as support back on June 18. So AMC is still looking very bullish, and watch out for the stock of this company, guys, bursting above $52 and starting to consolidate consolidate slightly above that area, because that is going to be a sign that AMC is going to be off to the races, no doubt about it. And now let's go ahead and take a look at Tesla, and Tesla got absolutely crushed today as soon as the trading session opened. Let me show you guys the 1 day, 1 minute, and take a look at the drop that we saw as soon as the trading session started out this morning. So Tesla was trading pre-market at $741 and it dropped down to $708, and no bad news at all, guys. So this was a drop of almost 5%, guys, in a matter of 45 minutes. Jeez, this is the perfect definition of volatility. And I want to show you something, guys, that I found interesting. So before going over the technical analysis of Tesla, so I am going to pull up here on Robinhood Tesla. And I was thinking to myself, guys, because we already have available the options of 2024. Let me pull up here. I think that we have available the options for January of 2024. So guys, if the markets happen to take a hit in the X, the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500, let's say that we finally see a correction of the markets of 8 or 10%. I am going to be getting Tesla leaps, guys. Take a look, because as of now, this is a lot of money. If I buy a leap in the money, or a call option in the money that expires on January 19 of 2024 with a strike price of $740, I have to pay $22,000 as of now. But what happens, guys, if Tesla drops a lot? Let's say that Tesla visits the $600 or the $550, then the call options are going to be way cheaper, guys. And we are talking about calls that expire in 2024. And I know that Tesla has a lot of haters out there, but for the Tesla bulls that see my videos, you mean to tell me that Tesla in 2024 is going to be below $600 or $650? Come on, guys. This is easy money. But let's be patient. So let's wait to see if we actually see a big drop in the markets, and I am going to be getting Tesla leaps, no doubt about it. So Tesla ended up going up today, guys, 0.91%, and it closed today's trading session at $743. Mind you, guys, if tomorrow we happen to have a worse than expected CPI data report, this is going to be one of the victims of such negative report. This is a stock that trades on higher multiples. This is a very expensive stock. So the algos are going to sell out of Tesla if we happen to have a crazy CPI data report tomorrow in inflation terms. So be mindful of that. So if that were to happen, guys, if Tesla happens to take a hit, watch out for $718. $718 is a previous area of overhead resistance in which Tesla failed back in early May. It also failed back in early April, and it also failed back in March on 2 occasions. So we are talking about a former area of overhead resistance that should supply a good support if visited in a very aggressive way. If we pick up shares of Tesla at $718 or call options or any bullish trade that you want at that area, that price $718, then a reasonable price target would be $760. $760 is an area of overhead resistance in which the bulls of Tesla have been failing throughout September. They failed on several occasions. Let me count over here on 1, 2, and 3 occasions. So if we were able to take this trade the way that I am describing it, picking up Tesla shares at $718 and selling out of those shares at $760, we are talking about a 6% profit trade. That's a very nice trade in the case of Tesla. So watch out tomorrow for Tesla. As I just said, if we happen to have a worse than expected CPI data report, paying a visit down to $718. And the third stock of this video is going to be Nike. And before Nike, sorry. We say Nike in Spanish, so Nike is the correct way of pronouncing the name of this company. And before starting to record, to film this video, guys, I found out that Nike was downgraded because of supply chains distortions, let's say, right? Let me see if I can find, yeah, here it is. So let me see. Nike shares are trading lower. BTIG downgraded the stock from buy to neutral. So let me see if I can see over here. We don't have the price target. Let me see Nike's price target to 221 from 214. So what is going on here? Adjust Nike's price target to 221 from 214. But this is not a that was Morgan Stanley, guys. Sorry, this is all new. So we don't have. Yeah, Morgan Stanley actually adjusted Nike's price target to $221 from $214, but we don't have, I don't have available here on Thinkorswim the price target of BTIG, which downgraded Nike today because of supply chain concerns, right? So yeah, the stock was downgraded amid supply disruptions. So whatever, I don't know what's the price target. But what I do know is that I want to pick up some shares of Nike. And by the way, guys, Nike is reporting earnings in 10 days. So keep that in mind, because take a look at what happened with Nike on its last earnings report, guys. The stock of this company went absolutely bananas. It went up 17% after having reported earnings. This was back in June, right? Yeah, back on June 23rd. So if tomorrow, guys, Nike happens to pay a visit down to $156, which is a previous area of lower support that acted as such back on July 20th and also acted as such back on July 7th, I am going to be tempted in order to pick up some shares of Nike. If I take a trade on Nike picking up shares at $156, then my price target is going to be the next important area of overhead resistance for the stock of this company at $165. If I were able to take this trade the way that I am describing it, I could be locking in a profit of almost 6%. And when it comes to the price target that I just told you about, $165, $166, we are talking about a former area of overhead resistance in which the bulls of Nike felt back on September 10, and they also felt back on July 23rd. And if I zoom in here, guys, on the 4-hour chart, we can clearly see a death cross that unfolded back on September 8th. So we can clearly see over here the 50 SMA crossing below the 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart. You guys know that this is bearish, so we could see $156 in the case of Nike. And if we take a look at the relative strength index of the stock of this company, it is at 34 points. So we can make the case that if Nike happens to pay a visit down to $156.50, the relative strength index of this stock is going to be even lower, and that is going to increase the likelihood for the bulls of Nike to find support at a previous area of lower support and then bounce back up. And the last stock of this video is going to be the talk of the town, guys, Ttcf, ticker symbol Ttcf, which went down today 3.45%, and it closed today's trading session at $19.88. And guys, the stock of this company simply went too far too fast. So take a look at the relative strength index of Ttcf. It got up to 87 points when Ttcf hit $25. So now we are seeing a very healthy pullback, and I like the fact, guys, that the stock of this company is holding the 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart as lower support at $19.70. So over here we have the coincidence, the convergence of the 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart with a former area of lower support that already acted as such for Ttcf back in the beginning of July. also back in late June, also back in mid-May, and lastly back in the beginning of March. So if tomorrow I start to see some sort of consolidation slightly above $19.70, I am going to be very tempted, guys, in order to pick up 200 or 300 shares of Ttcf, in which case my price target is going to be the next important area of overhead resistance for the stock of this company at $22.21. $22.21 is a previous area of overhead resistance in which the bulls of Ttcf felt back on June 30th. So if I were able to take this trade the way that I am describing it, picking up some shares of $19.70 and selling out of those shares at $22.20 each, I could be locking in a profit of almost 11%, a very solid profit. And if we take a look at the relative strength index on the 4-hour chart, it is at 34 points, very but very healthy from a technical standpoint. And mind you guys, here we are also, you guys must think that I am spotting these left and right, the death crosses and the golden crosses, but take a look, guys, at how we can clearly see over here the 50 SMA crossing above the 180 SMA on the 4-hour chart. So this is bullish, and since Ttcf hasn't broken yet the 180 SMA to the downside on the 4-hour chart, we can say, or we can make the case, that this golden cross is still in effect. So watch out for a bounce off from $19.70-ish in the case of Ttcf. And with Ttcf, I am going to wrap up the video. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for hanging out with me once again. Remember and keep in mind, guys, that here on the Bilingual Stock Market channel, we are posting stock market update videos Mondays through Thursdays, 3 or 4 hours after the market closes. So if you want to get all of the notifications of all of our videos in a timely manner, you have to be subscribed to the channel, but you also need to activate the notification bell right up there. Follow us on Instagram as well, guys, at Bilingual Stock Market. On our Instagram account, we are posting news and information on a daily basis, and here and there, when the volatility of the markets lets me do it, I am making call-outs about the stocks that I am about to purchase. So go ahead and follow us on Instagram as well at Bilingual Stock Market. And remember that this is the Bilingual Stock Market channel, the YouTube channel in which we talk about the markets, but we do it in English and Spanish as well, so you can pick your preferred language. But most importantly, this is the YouTube channel in which we know that the wonderful world of Wall Street is not for geniuses, it is for entrepreneurs just like you guys and myself. My name is Alvaro, and I will see you guys tomorrow once again, 3 or 4 hours after the market closes. Peace out.